exquisite bird. It's a very cold lilac-breasted roller, and you can see how it's got all of its feathers ruffled up. Well, it did. Oh, what's it doing? Has it found something? No, it just wanted to go and land on another perch. Okay, well, from the very cold lilac-breasted roller, we're going to head across to Byron and see how he's been doing and get any updates on his morning since you last saw him, and we'll catch up with you a little bit later.
Hi again, everyone. Welcome back. I hope you enjoyed those giraffe with Scott. Always wonderful to see giraffe moving through the bush. Beautiful, beautiful, elegant animals. I heard he also got to see a lovely lilac-breasted roller. Amazing bird. So many different colors. I think it's about 7 or 8 different colors on that bird altogether. We've been driving around trying to see if we can spot anything else. It's been a little bit quiet for the last 20 minutes or so. A few more steenbok running around. But after this morning, after this morning's excitement, it's nice to think about everything that happened and try to work out reasons for this male leopard to come wandering into a hyena den site. But what an incredible sighting. So fantastic to see. And again, I mentioned earlier, I love doing this so much because you never know what you're going to see or what you're going to, or what's going to happen. You know, the bush has the ability to surprise you all the time, which is just so exciting. Really, really enjoying my first drive with all of you this morning. It's great to be able to share this with people from all over the world.
Kudu and zebra have arrived out of the thick bush into this small open clearing. And it could well have just been the leopard that did the same thing, but I'm happy that we've come across the zebra and the kudu. And again, when you find animals that you're not looking for, like we have now, it provides us with a great opportunity to enjoy other beauty that exists out here. But importantly, it also allows us to listen. While we don't have the vehicle running, we can enjoy the prospects of hearing some clues that may be given to us by the bush. I'm just going to try and reposition ever so slightly. We've been really fortunate in that this dazzle of zebra have been spending quite a lot of time here on Djuma, and it's an animal like the giraffe rather that we don't get to see very often, and they're not very highly populated in this area of the Sabi Sands because of the lack of short open grassy plains, which is the habitat they prefer. And the same male leopard that you may have got a glimpse of earlier if you were with us on the first part of the drive, Byron managed to get a glimpse of a male leopard, and that same male leopard in November actually had a zebra kill not far from where we are here. It was a zebra foal, but it's not very common in this area to see leopard with zebra kills. In all my time in the Sabi Sands, I've never seen that. And zebra will even be known to chase leopard and bite them and kick them if they do get caught out by the zebra. So the roles can be reversed, and zebra can give leopard a hard time, but no different to lion and buffalo, I guess. Lion will occasionally kill buffalo, and buffalo in the same breath will occasionally kill lion. I saw an incredible photographic sequence that was taken fairly recently of one old male lion and one big old male buffalo having a battle, and it went on for hours, them both trying to kill one another, and the buffalo ended up winning. I'm just going to creep forward again. There's a really nice scene that is hidden by some bushes that I'm going to try and sneak us into. Well, sadly, they all appear to be heading off into some quite thick bush. Although, as I said that, they all appeared to have popped out into a little clearing again. Not uncommon for different species of animals to move together through the bush, and it just increases their safety because there's more eyes and ears. They all collectively are essentially working against the predators. And there was even one or two impala that I saw in and amongst the zebra and kudu. And it appears like the kudu are leading the way and the zebra are following. Oh, and a little oxpecker has just popped into the scene. And you can imagine how ticklish and almost intrusive it must be to have a little bird digging for ticks in your ear. If the kudu can resist the initial reaction to chase the oxpeckers away, it'll allow the oxpeckers to get at ticks that the kudu would have no way of removing itself. And what a beautiful scene this is. The zebra and the kudu enjoying the morning sunshine here. And a lot of beautiful scenes we are having this morning. The birds seem to be coming alive as it warms up, and there's certainly more bird chatter that we can hear at the moment. So it's turning out to be a wonderful, wonderful morning here, full of life at Djuma. And I hope you're all enjoying being on board with us on the sunrise adventure.
We seem to have lost you earlier. With a bit of signal, we did go down into a drainage line. It was quite steep, but it's perfect timing because Scott showed you those wonderful zebra and some kudu. It's always lovely to see kudu walking through these areas. Just getting back to the story I was telling you about the guests and sitting on the back and warming warming up in the sun and on a cold morning drive, and while the guide was explaining the giraffe, which they were viewing, just much like Scott was doing earlier, he said it got quite quiet, and he turned around to see how the guests were doing, and they had all fallen asleep. I think the warmth of the sun and the peacefulness of the bush just put them into a very relaxing state, and they all dozed off quietly, and they sat for another 20 minutes and then carried on going. We've just come to check one of the water holes. Just spotted some antelope. There we go. Some Inyala. Definitely one of my favorite antelope in this area. They are very, very beautiful antelope, and generally quite relaxed. They are heading towards the water hole now, and all animals, when they do get closer to a dam or a water hole and they're looking to drink, they are very, very wary and very careful, because a lot of the time predators do like to hang around close to water, because they know animals are bound to come drink at some point. But all animals are just always very careful and extra alert when they are walking towards water. And two beautiful female Inyala. One thing I find so fascinating about these antelope is how different the male and female are. The male has got a very, very dark coat, and these female are this light reddish brown coloration. But on both species, or both male and female, the stripes are very, very prominent. Chin spot batis, beautiful little bird, and it's got an interesting call. I always find it really entertaining and funny when someone tries to do a bird call, and I'm not very good at it. But the call of the chin spot batis sounds like it's saying 3 blind mice, which is an old fairy tale. We obviously we all know fairy tale, not fairy tale. Old song, 3 blind mice. As you growing up as a child, remember learning it at school. But and we go 3 blind mice, something like that. But as I said, my bird calls are not very good. Beautiful little bird. Yeah, it seems to have flown off. And Nyala have just gone behind a bit of a thicket there at the moment, but still slowly heading down. Just going to reposition slightly. There's some birds drinking down at the water hole here. And it just flew past and gave off a bit of a call. But it sounds like, a lot of the time when it does call, it sounds like he is saying, go away, go away. So that is where the name grey go-away bird comes from. There we go. See that beautiful crest? Even though it's quite uniform grey colour, it's still a beautiful bird. These amazing calls. And they do in fact warn you if there are predators around. And that's kind of where the go away call or sound or how people thought it originated, or why it does that, is it would warn you if there are predators, and it would say, go away, almost warning you that there's potential danger around. They often will call if they do. I've seen it a couple of times with leopard walking through the bush, and if you've only just joined us, we managed to see a leopard briefly this morning, so it's quite interesting. But with leopard walking through the bush, you can get these grey go-away birds flying in above them, or sitting in a tree close by and giving that alarm call. A lot of animals or birds will alarm call that a predator. Even if there isn't a direct threat, they would still alarm call purely because it is a predator, and that it needs to, or they try to get it away from them because it is danger. Oh, there's another really beautiful bird off to the right. Lower it down. Let's see if Andrew can get it. There we go. Beautiful red face. It's a black-collared barbet. Black-collared barbet. Beautiful red face there, but you can see that very clear black band around the throat or the collar. That's obviously how it gets its name, black-collared barbet. These birds are really interesting. When they call, it sounds like it's one bird calling, but it's actually a duet. It is always a duet. A male and female will call together. The one bird will make a single sound, and immediately after the other one makes a sound. And it happens so quickly, it sounds like it's a single bird making that call, but it's actually two of them, which I find very interesting. It's always lovely to come and sit at these water holes and do a bit of birding, or just waiting to see if any animals head down for a drink. As we said, the sun's quite high at the moment, so it's starting to warm up, and I'm sure during the course of the day animals will come down to drink. At any one of the water holes around here, and it's so great, as I mentioned, to be back in this area and to be on these drives with you. The Sabi Sands is such a special area. It's such a wonderfully beautiful area, and part of the greater Kruger Park, as I'm sure you all know. And it's so nice to be able to drive and track and follow wildlife in this area and spend time with them. Those of you who have just kind of joined us, if you are wondering who this new face on your screen is, I'm Byron, doing one of my first drives here with you, and it's been a great morning so far. Good morning, Kira, in Italy, all the way from Italy. Kira has just asked if, and regarding the Inyala, which we saw earlier, if there's an easy way to identify the difference between female Inyala and female bushbuck. I've got a book here quickly, which it's always a lot easier, I find, to explain when you've got a visual aid, and to show the difference between the Inyala and the bushbuck. Just quickly, if I can, just give you a bit of background on the Inyala and the bushbuck. So it's not uncommon for people to get confused between these antelope. Actually, there are three antelope which are quite similar: the kudu, the nyala, and the bushbuck. And the reason for this is they actually form part of the same tribe. They're all very closely related. And if you have a look at the kudu, nyala, and the bushbuck, they all have got very clear white markings on the body. The males all have spiral horns the kudu obviously have those big, almost corkscrew-like horns which twist and turn. But the male nyala and the male bushbuck all have a slight twist in their horn and a turn. So that's one reason. The markings, the white markings, is another reason. So they all look quite similar. What I'm going to do is, if I hold this up here, and if we can get Andrew just to zoom in a little bit.
Put them more in the middle in the light.
Isn't that okay? There we go. So this is a picture of the nyala, and as you can see, just with the female again, as we saw earlier, reddish brown coloration with these very clear white markings on the body. And then if you have a look at the male a little higher up, you can see how different they are. The male's got this reddish brown coloration just on the lower part of the leg, but very grey body, or dark grey, but you can see those white stripes, and a very hairy male. The males have got quite a lot of hair hanging down, very beautiful. And you can see, again, as I mentioned with the horns, that turn and that little twist that goes up. So that's it's one of the reasons why they are part of that family. But Kara, let me just get back to your question again with the bushbuck and the difference. The bushbuck here, the lower part of the bushbuck. And hopefully this helps you a little bit. And you can see the bushbuck, firstly, size-wise, the bushbuck is quite a bit smaller than the nyala. But have a look at the white markings on the body of the female bushbuck. You can see they are mainly dots. There are no stripes on the bushbuck. So the first thing that would give it away is with the nyala, the females and the males have got very, very prominent white stripes down the body. Whereas with the bushbuck, there are no stripes. You have these dots over and around the side, especially around the rump area of the animal. And if we look a little bit to the right over here, you can see the male. And you can see the male is also much darker. And you can see those horns which turn a slight bit, not as much as obviously not as much as the kudu, and not as big as the nyala. But have a look also, just a few white dots down the side of the body, no stripes at all on the side. So hopefully that answers your question and makes it a bit easier for you to identify in future. There we go. The female nyala has just come out into the open again. You can see the ears constantly moving, listening. They're very, very alert antelope. And because nyala like to move through thickets, they've got to rely on that sense of hearing. At a water hole for an hour or two, just relaxing and enjoying the bird life, and all of a sudden you notice something that you didn't see, and it could be as big as a leopard or a lion lying in the shade of a tree somewhere close by. It's always good just to scan and listen. You can see, watch how careful this nyala is. See, constantly scanning and being very, very careful and watching. And just a reminder again, if you've got any questions or any comments you'd like to send through to us, if you're on Twitter, hashtag SafariLive. Alternatively, you can email us on questions@wildearth.tv. Just had a comment from a friend of mine, and as I mentioned, we probably have quite a few new viewers this morning. I made sure that I told a lot of my old guests and friends that I would be on this morning and try and get more of them to share these wonderful mornings with us. And so hello to Warwick. I'm sure he's stuck to his computer watching with us. I think what we're going to do is sit around here for a little bit and just wait to see if these Inyala do come down and drink. They're taking their time again. They're very, very careful, and they just want to make sure that they are safe. I think Scott has got another beautiful bird with him. Why don't you go across to him and just see what he has got, and we'll join you shortly again, and we'll hang around here for a while.
Welcome back, everyone, and we are so close to this beautiful, beautiful lilac-breasted roller that we couldn't resist stealing you away from Byron and all of the birds and Inyala and action that he's been sharing with you at the Djuma waterhole. And like Byron said a little bit earlier, they are believed to have 8 different colors. Now, there will be varying opinions on this, but as you can see, this bird does have an array of different colors, and you can all count for yourself and see how many you can come up with. But what a great view we've got. You'll also notice it's quite windy, and you can tell this by its feathers blowing as well as how it's using its tail to maintain balance as the wind does increase. And they've got those beautiful long streamers on the end of their tails. Absolutely beautiful. Still, despite the sun being quite high up, the cool air with this wind is keeping it quite fresh and crisp this morning, and that's why I think this lilac-breasted roller is so relaxed with us being nearby, because it would rather stay here on its perch and bask in the sun than fly off. And we often get spoiled in winter with close-up sightings of birds like this with their feathers all puffed up. It's my mother's favorite bird, so I hope she's watching this, because we don't get much better views than this. We are still in the general area where Tingana, the male leopard, was seen earlier by Byron. But there's been no further clues as to where he could have gone. He could be nearby to where Byron last saw him. There's been no clear sign of him crossing any of the roads that surround the block that he was in. Well, Well, Nikki in Final Control says she's counted 7 colors, and she's interested to know if any of you, the viewers, have managed to count 8. Have you got 8 there, Phil?
Black is a color.
Well, Phil says black is possibly the one color that Nikki might be missing. And I'll be interested to know all of the exact terms for the different colors, because technically there are very precise terms for precise colors. And like I said, I'd be interested to know what exactly these colors are. The color on the top of its head would be one of the most difficult ones for me to identify. It's a greenish tinge, but green is certainly not the color that is on the back of the head, but there's a very slight green tinge, and I'm not sure what the exact correct name for that greenish color is.
I've got yellow, green, red, brown, blue, turquoise, black. White.
There will be white on it under its wings, certainly. So that also may be a color. And also on its head there are those little white speckles and flecks under its chin.
And blue.
Yeah, blue and turquoise are 2 more colors. The lilac in front, which it's given its name after, I guess, is another sure color. That electric turquoise on the end of their wings and at the base of its tail are absolutely electric. Okay, well, it sounds like Byron's found another beautiful bird that he would like to share with you. So we're going to link back to him and guarantee that you will enjoy the parrot-like bird that he has in shot for you. We'll see you later.
Welcome back, everyone. We've just been sitting at the waterhole waiting for the Nyala to come down to drink. I know Scott has been with that beautiful lilac-breasted roller, and we have got another really lovely bird, which has made its way down to the waterhole, sitting on the water's edge. Has it just flown off?
Yeah, it flew off.
It's just flown off. Yeah. The grey go-away birds are still there, but we had an African green pigeon that came down to drink. He just flew off. We just missed it. Also, very, very beautiful bird. And great to see the Nyala eventually come down to drink. It's see just a very quick little drink, and now they're moving off again, off to feed for the day. A lot of these antelope don't like to hang around the waterhole for too long. As I mentioned, they're quite nervous, very careful. They do know predators come to the water fairly regularly. So quick little drink and then off they go again.
The parrot-like green pigeon flew off just before you got to Byron. But a saddle-billed stork came in and saved the day. A really beautiful bird, and We also got a glimpse of one flying past earlier this morning. And the zebra have come down for a quick drink. We actually saw their tracks coming down here, so increased the tempo in order to ensure we don't miss them. And what a beautiful sight it is. There's also a few impala, and what I'm going to do is I'm just going to reposition quickly and try and get you the whole scene here at the waterhole. And while some are drinking, others are heads up looking around. How they work that out is possibly just through default, I'm not too sure, but it does bode well for their safety. You could possibly hear the gentle drumming of a woodpecker off in the distance. The oxpeckers are calling. There's a few on the zebra and the impala. And while we watch the impala closest to us drinking, it's displaying its metatarsal glands, which are the two little black blobs on its heels, very well. And there was a question a few days ago about these glands, and they are unique to the impala in terms of the animals of this area. And as they run off and bombshell and scatter, if they are chased by anything, these glands will leave a scent trail so that the herds can follow the trail back to one another after they've regrouped after their fright. Absolutely beautiful. They're not going to hang around here. They've all now finished their drink and are moving off to possibly better grazing and also areas where they feel safer. This essentially is a high-risk area for any of the herbivores. And there's just one or two more impala getting their last few sips in before I'm sure they too will follow the rest of this bachelor herd. Oh, look at that young impala showing a little bit of interest towards the blacksmith lapwing as it walked past. I thought it was almost going to chase it off at one stage, which is the little black and white bird we can see on the water's edge. In shape of horns between a younger and slightly older impala. The one on the right would have been born at the end of 2013, in November or December of 2013, and the other one possibly a year or two before that. Action-packed. Oh, one last thing I'm going to possibly ask Phil to try and show you. There's a bataleur soaring up in the distance. It could turn towards us, which would make for some great views. At the moment it's heading a bit away and it's a bit far, but it could turn towards us. I always love watching the birds of prey soaring above us and get very envious of their ability to float above this beautiful ecosystem that we get to play around in. But it sadly veered off too far to appreciate their beauty. They teeter from side to side, the bataleurs. It's one of the identifying features that help us to identify them. Even if they're a very, very long way away, they've got their very distinctive teetering from side to side, and that's because they've got an extremely short tail. There we go, you can see it almost as if it's unbalanced, and it's that short tail that doesn't lend it much stability like the other birds of prey. Great, well, like I said earlier, we've had action-packed morning with so many different animals and birds, and I hope you've all enjoyed the action that Mother Nature has provided us with this morning. And I'm just going to carry on driving. All the animals have moved off from here, and I'm going to see if we can possibly find something else in the next few minutes. And I'm sure you've all been thoroughly enjoying having Byron take you on safari. He's a great guy, and I have no doubt that you've been having a good time with him. This. Awesome. This looks like a little gabar goshawk, and we seldom get this close to them. Absolutely awesome. It's quite a small raptor, not much bigger than a grey go-away bird, which is a bird that we see fairly often. And what I'll do is I'll pull it up in the book quickly to show you it just before we go across to Byron. Really, really pretty little bird of prey, and because it has disappeared into the thick vegetation, I am just going to show you in the book quickly, and then Byron's got something interesting that he would like to, well, there it goes, that he would like to show you before the end of the show. So here at the top right is the gabar goshawk, and it's got that distinctively grey head and striped or barred chest that we saw. So another bird to add to the list from this morning's array of different birds, and I hope you've enjoyed your time with us. I certainly have enjoyed having you with us. So from myself, Scott, and Phil on camera, thanks so much for jumping on our vehicle today, and to Nikki and Eugene and Final Control, thanks to all their help. And I think well done to Byron on his first live drive. It's not easy, and there's a lot of changes relative to normal guiding that take a bit of getting used to, but I'm sure he's nailed it. And over to him. We will see you next time.
Welcome back, everyone. Oh, we've just found something very interesting. Let's see if I can get a clear view of it for you. Two side-striped jackal moving through the long grass. They're a little bit skittish, but hang on a second. Let's just see what we can do here. There we go. Getting them moving. Can you see them? Look at that beautiful side-striped jackal. And you don't see these very often in this area. They are around, but they are very shy. And as you can see, a little nervous of the vehicles, but how amazing is that to see them moving around this time of day? There's still the one running around there. There we go. Look at that bushy tail and that very clear stripe down the side of the body. We only have 2 jackal in Southern Africa, the black-backed jackal and the side-striped jackal. And the side-striped we seem to see in the Sabi Sands quite a lot. As you move in further into the Greater Kruger, you tend to see a lot more black-backed jackal. But that's something really interesting, fantastic. So, gee, what a great morning and what a start for me. It's been amazing sharing this experience with all of you. Thank you for all your questions and for all the input from our viewers. It's a completely new experience for myself, but it's been so much fun. And I mean, what a start. So with the leopard and the hyena this morning, to the side-striped jackal, the bird life at the waterhole. It really has been a lot of fun, and thank you to everyone. A big thank you to Nikki and Eugene at Final Control, and to Andrew. A huge thank you to Andrew for all his help this morning. Our trusty cameraman was full of advice and help this morning, and I look forward to seeing you all this afternoon again. It's been as I said, fantastic morning, and hopefully our luck continues through to this afternoon on our sunset drive. So we will say farewell, and we'll see you all later.